For today's cup of coffee, we're hoping not to have some kind of tragedy.
Dear God.
Most of the time, there is nothing to see. But yesterday, if you did not watch the video, and I will try to go back and get a timestamp on it, there was actually something to see.
Yeah, the one time, it's like, oh God. I'm surprised I didn't yell out.
That could have been a tragedy.
I'm more responsive than Mom. I'm just like, oh, look at that.
I was right behind the camera and the, microphone, so I would have had, and the laptop and everything else. It was much easier for you because you had quicker access, and very pleased that your response time was that fast.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe.
You did good. So, anyhow, if you don't know what we're talking about, like I said, I'll put a timestamp for yesterday's cup of coffee, and you can go back and enjoy the mirth.
Fuck's sake.
It was interesting. And if you all have never seen the time that the bat got in our house, because I know that we do have new subscribers, and that one is funny. That one was, for it to be spontaneous.
Panicking, and you threw me to
absolutely,
the bat.
I threw your ass out there.
I still watch that one.
It's funny. Well, you have to, if
threw
it's
my ass to the bat.
If it's easier for you to find out which cup number it was, you could let me know, and I'll put it in the description box.
Oh God, I don't know.
We'll have to try to find it. There's been so many. Well, I do one a day, and it's been quite a few. It's been several years. This is my coping skill.
That one hasn't been several years.
No, that one hasn't been several years.
That was last year.
Maybe it was year before last. Wasn't it? I think it was year before last, for real. Maybe it was last year. I'll have to look and see. Anyhow, what we're going to be talking about.
Halloween time, I think.
What we're going to be talking about today, haunted houses.
We love it.
Yeah.
I want to live in a haunted house.
I grew up in one. So it's not.
I didn't experience
it sounds more exciting than it actually is. When you grow up in one, it's kind of terrifying.
Well, it terrified you. It didn't terrify me. I had to stay down there.
Well, I don't know. Anyhow, this comes from Wikipedia, and I had actually. There was another one it's like spoopy stuff instead of Wikipedia. It's some kind of fandom thing. This one was called the Evil Wiki.
Evil Wiki?
Yes, and
we love that.
Yeah, but it didn't have that much. A lot of it was, same thing that Wiki had. So just took smatterings. And according to this, a haunted house, spook house, or ghost house. Have you ever heard them called spook houses?
I have.
Have you really?
Yeah, I have.
Is that a regional thing?
No, it's just people who just be like, ooh, a spook house.
Okay.
Like, it's just one of those, funny things.
Okay.
It's a spook house.
All right. In ghost lore is a house or other building often perceived as being inhabited by disembodied spirits of the deceased who may have been former residents or were otherwise connected with property. Parapsychologists often attribute haunting to the spirits of the dead who have suffered from violent or tragic events in the building's past, such as murder, accidental death, or suicide. In a majority of cases, upon scientific investigation, alternative causes to supernatural phenomenon are found to be at fault, such as hoaxes, environmental effects, hallucinations, or confirmed biases. Now, even though this is written from a more skeptical point of view, I don't mind that because they're not being demeaning. And
yeah, because some of those skeptics are very
some of them are just assholes. This is not. This is more from a scientific approach, which
it's
I
a
actually
logical approach.
It is. I appreciate that. Common symptoms of hauntings like cold spots, creaking, or knocking sounds. These can be found in most homes, regardless of suspected paranormal presences. It's called the house settling.
Yeah.
It's called environmental factors, as far as wood contracts and it expands and all these different things according to the weather, the humidity, all that stuff.
Yeah.
People are more likely to experience a haunting when they are about to fall asleep, when waking, if they are intoxicated or sleep deprived. Carbon monoxide poisoning has been cited as a cause of suspected hauntings. If there is an expectation of a preternatural encounter, it is more likely that one will be perceived or reported. The word preternatural, I used to know this one, and I'm like, I rediscovered a word. And that means which appears outside or beside the natural. It is suspended between the mundane and the miraculous. So we're going to add that back into our vocabulary.
The mundane or miraculous?
Preternatural.
Preternatural?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's one word that means all that. That's the whole basis of having different words. It's like shorthand in speech. Anyhow, in history, according to Owen Davies, a paranormal historian. Oh my God. Historian, thank you. We intended to get an earlier start, and it just didn't happen. Hauntings in the British Isles were usually attributed to fairies, but today hauntings are usually associated with ghostly or supernatural encounters. In other cultures around the world, various spirits are said to haunt vacant homes and locations. In Middle Eastern countries, for example, jinn are said to haunt these areas. Historically, since most people died in their homes, whether they were mansions or hovels, these homes became natural places for ghosts to haunt, with bedrooms being the most common rooms to be haunted. Many houses gained a reputation for being haunted after they were empty or derelict. Davies explains that, quote, if people were to fail to occupy human space, then external forces would move in, end quote. And that we have noticed that when houses are inhabited, it's like they have life. And very soon after people move in, it's like the houses very quickly fall into decline.
Oh, absolutely they do.
And it's like the house itself dies.
Yeah. Something else that I've noticed, it sometimes has to deal with the people who also fall in, whose health declines too.
Right.
It's like as their health declines, so does the house.
Yes. Yes, and it's, I don't know, homes and stuff, the wood, all that stuff, even stone, has memory.
Yeah.
And so the essences of the people that are there, and we can see how it very easily could be that spirit of disease could become an external manifestation in structure, where the person that is ill resides. So that was pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Now, cultural attributes to haunted houses. Haunting is one of the most common paranormal beliefs around the world, according to Benjamin Radford. Now, we had him as an expert in something not that long ago. I had to go back and look. And this is from his book, Investigating Ghosts, The Scientific Search for Spirits. He says that almost every town and city has at least one haunted place. He states that despite over 100 years of investigation, there has not been a single verifiable fact about ghosts having been established. Well, now, one has to question, what is his criteria?
Yeah, what is
he looking for as far as a verifiable fact? How are you going to verify something with fourth dimensional tools, which is what we have, because I'm counting time, space, continuum on as far as instead of 3 dimensions, it's 4. So when you are going into a realm that is beyond that, how are you going to quantify it when you don't have equipment that could possibly quantify it?
Uh-huh.
Did I do that thing again? You've got that blank look on your face.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Anyhow, so
some of us
are
the plebeians.
Did I go into nerd mode again?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much.
In the 1st century A.D., the great Roman author and statesman Pliny the Younger recorded one of the first notable ghost stories in his letters, which have become famous for their vivid account of life during the heyday of the Roman Empire. Pliny reported that the specter of an old man with a long beard rattling chains was haunting his house in Athens. The Greek writer Lucian and Pliny's fellow Roman Plautus also wrote memorable ghost stories. So it's not like this is new. Of course, it's not like spirits are new. Yeah. You know, I think it sort of comes with, you get issued one when you deploy here.
Yeah.
In a 2005 Gallup poll, 37% of Americans, 28% of Canadians, and 40% of Britons expressed a belief that houses could be haunted. In a 2009 Pew Research Center survey, about 29% of Americans believed that they had been in touch with someone who has died. According to results from a research company poll released in 2020, 40% of Canadian women and 25% of Canadian men stated they believe in haunted houses. In Japan, there is a tradition linked to Buddhism of creating ghost houses in August when it's believed that ancestral spirits may visit. People will go to ghost houses to listen to frightening stories or seek elaborate decorations and costumes to experience shivers as a way to feel cooler in the hot summer temperatures.
That is so cool.
Isn't it though?
I really like that. I want to visit Japan.
Oh yeah, that would be great. The Shanghai Disneyland Park planners decided against building the Haunted Mansion because of the local cultural beliefs about ghosts and hauntings. Building the house would have been considered a mockery of their fear. So that's nice that at least they were cognizant of these people's beliefs.
Yeah. Too bad they're not cognizant of a lot of other things.
No, they're not. In Wuhan, China, the police have built a haunted house to train their police force by testing their nerves. They filled a dilapidated house with faked severed limbs, bones, skulls, and a frightening atmosphere that includes lightning and rain. The house is also open to the public. I thought that was just amazing.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I want to visit.
Well, and it says...
I want to go to it.
Well, during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, Indonesian lawmakers of the Srigan region of the island of Java decided to lock people who didn't follow quarantine guidelines in abandoned and believed to be haunted houses. It was an attempt to motivate a superstitious population when science failed to do so.
Oh, that ain't a punishment for me. That's a treat.
Well, there's a lot of question on that, and I think that some of these people that have gone to measures like this at a certain point in time, I am going to, between 9 to 12 months, some of these people are going to look back at how things were handled, and they are going to very much regret some of the things that they've done.
Yeah, but regret isn't enough.
Well, you know, sometimes we'll just wait and see. And, all right, according to Owen Davies' book, The Haunted, A Social History of Ghosts, quote, even the most devout believers in ghosts over the centuries recognized that many hauntings were frauds, end quote. In an interview with USA Today, Davies states, quote, for skeptics in the past and present, the house was obviously the center of hauntings because it was where people slept and dreamed of the dead, or where people lay drunk, drugged, or hallucinating in their sick beds, end quote. Well, there's a little more to that than that.
Yeah.
I don't know who he's hanging around, but some of us don't do anything.
Exactly.
Such basic poltergeist phenomena as rapping and knocking were very easy to orchestrate with the help of accomplices or a variety of ploys. According to science writer Terence Hines, cold spots, creaking sounds, and other noises are typically present in any house, especially older ones. And, quote, such noises can easily be mistaken for the sounds of footsteps by those inclined to imagine the presence of a deceased tenant in their home, end quote. A sensed presence effect, the feeling that there is someone else present in the room, is known to happen when people experience monotony, darkness, cold, hunger, fatigue, fear, and sleep deprivation. Skeptical investigator Joe Nickell, we've heard that voice, that name before too, writes that in most cases he investigated, he found plausible explanations for haunting phenomena such as physical illusions, waking dreams, and the effects of memory. According to Nickell, the power of suggestion along with confirmation bias plays a large role in perceived hauntings. He states that as a house, inn, or other place becomes thought of as haunting, more and more ghostly encounters are reported, and that when people expect paranormal events, they tend to notice conditions that would confirm their expectations. Many places deemed to be haunted are purposefully left in a decrepit condition with wallpaper peeling off, old carpeting, and antique decor. Yeah, you know. One thing I remember about Nichols was he was a jerk. And correlation does not mean causation. And it was just like the Amazing Randy. Just because that you can replicate something that appears to be a paranormal phenomenon does not mean that the paranormal phenomenon does not exist.
Right.
But for these people, because confirmation bias, he doesn't believe that anything is possible. So what is he going to find? He's going to find evidence that nothing is possible.
Yeah.
And he's putting that microscope on other people, but is he willing to turn it on himself?
Apparently not.
So, you know, this is the problem that I have with some of these hardcore skeptics. They are so set that they are correct and everybody else is wrong. You know, and this is what happens with people like that. Even if he did have an experience, he's already explained it away. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like Ebenezer Scrooge when he was seeing the ghost. What was he sitting there going, oh, it's a bit of, blot of bad mustard or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's bad. It's always food poisoning or whatever.
Yeah, until the ghost was sitting there in front of him and, you know, shaking him and he could no longer deny its existence.
Yep.
And maybe that needs to happen to Nickel.
Absolutely.
I think that would be a great thing. Toxicologist Albert Donay believes that chronic exposure to substances such as carbon monoxide, pesticide, and formaldehyde can lead to hallucinations of the type associated with haunted houses. Donay speculates on the connection between the prevalence of gas lamps during the Victorian era and the start of the 20th century, as well as stories of ghost sightings and hauntings, describing it as haunted house syndrome. Now I can see they had a lot of toxins.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of toxins today, and people like formaldehyde. Carpets. This is why, really, people need to understand what is in carpeting, and formaldehyde is a common component of floor carpeting. Do not let small children crawl around on new floor carpeting.
Why would they put fluoride in, not fluoride, whatever
formaldehyde?
Formaldehyde in
it's
carpeting.
As far as part of the formaldehyde is something that preserves things like pickled frogs and all those wonderful things.
Yes, it's used to preserve dead things.
Yes, it is. So, but as far as why it's used in carpeting, who knows? Maybe to preserve the fibers to prevent them from breaking down or something. I don't know. I've always thought it was strange.
All the fibers now are synthetic.
Yeah.
So there would be no point in trying to preserve.
Don't ask me.
Plastic.
This is why we got rid of carpeting in our home years ago.
Even though I want carpeting in my room, sort of.
Well, now you're contradicting yourself on that.
How?
Anyhow, what can I say?
I don't mind a little mini rug.
Anyhow, I say. Carrie Poppy is a writer and co-host of the podcast. Oh no, Ross and Carrie was convinced she was living in a haunted house. She felt she was being watched by a demon, experienced pressure on her chest, and auditory hallucinations. Someone on the forum of skeptical paranormal investigators suggested she look into carbon monoxide poisoning. When the gas company arrived, unsafe levels of carbon monoxide were found. That doesn't mean that she wasn't having a paranormal experience plus the carbon monoxide.
Right. Although people also used to have, arsenic in their wallpaper and such like that, which caused issues.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Don't put up the green wallpaper, folks.
I mean, they got better dyes. And
they do. So. And let's see, Michael Persinger, an American-Canadian professor of psychology, suggested that perceived apparitions, cold spots, and ghostly touches are perceptual anomalies caused by variations in naturally occurring or man-made magnetic fields. Which that was an interesting thing there. However, a study by psychologist Chris French that attempted to replicate Persinger's findings found no link. But now everybody has had that phenomenon, like if you have a cell phone in your pocket or whatever, that you feel like that the phone is vibrating or whatever.
Right.
So that has to do with the magnetic field, was it EMFs or whatever,
EMF.
of the phone, that it's, with the nervous system.
Well, that's why when you go ghost hunting, you're not supposed to bring your phone and such like that.
Well, it's like this. If you've got
At
a
least
device...
I wouldn't, because I don't want it to mess with any of the equipment.
If you've got a device that can do that while it's in your pocket, don't put it in your pocket. That's the reason, as far as pocketbook, do you really want something on your body that can affect your nervous system like that?
But is it socially acceptable for men to carry pocketbooks? No. Not yet.
Not, I don't know. People have done that. They've had attaché cases and you can put your phone in my pocketbook.
I want a pocketbook that looks like a rabbit head or one of those old Halloween buckets that you trick-or-treated with.
Well, you can get you a trick-or-treat bucket. They ain't nobody gonna stop you.
No, but there are actual purses that are made to look like that, and they have a zipper all the way around. That's the lid.
Right.
Those are really cool.
Yeah.
But once again, not socially acceptable for men to carry those around, even though they're fun, like the alien backpack.
Sure.
I love my alien backpack, but is it socially acceptable for me to wear it?
In your age group, probably. Because, I mean, if you go out here with a Louis Vuitton bag or whatever those things are,
that's for robbery.
Those are going to look at you funny. Even as far as wearing a backpack into a store, if I were working store security, I'd be watching you through the cameras closely.
Well, as long as you have it on your back at all times and you're not taking it out, you're fine.
So, I don't know. I mean, but guys, that's something, even as far as them wearing, having the phones in their back pockets or front pockets or anything, that it was causing testicular issues.
I don't know about you, but I hate having stuff in my pockets. I understand why pockets are necessary, but sometimes I just can't stand anything in there.
Well, I can understand that, but like I said, you're always welcome to put your phone in my Mary Poppins bag.
There's a reason we call it the Mary Poppins bag.
Yeah, lots of things in there. Now, for those who are investigating the haunting phenomenon, investigations of supposed hauntings are often result in simple explanations. For example, in an apparent haunted house in Somerset, England in the 18th century, a boy would make the house shake by jumping on a beam in an adjoining property that ran through both houses. In 1857, a 12-year-old girl confessed to tying her long hair around objects to give them the ghostly appearance of them moving on their own. Tina Resch, a girl from Columbus, Ohio, who claimed that ghostly and paranormal activity occurred in her home, was photographed throwing a telephone while acting surprised at the sudden poltergeist activity. Okay, within the examples that they've got here, when somebody is out making claims to get publicity and all that stuff, yes, that has to be investigated more fully. Mm-hmm. But most people that experience some kind of paranormal or haunting activity in their home, they're not out calling the newspapers.
Exactly.
And this is one of the reasons why, because most of them don't want the scrutiny on that. Ben Radford, again, Mr. Radford, he reoccurs.
Hello, Mr. Radford.
Of the Committee for the Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal. No, they've made that up. He's made that up. He's put himself on a committee. Performed an investigation in 2003 on an allegedly haunted house in Buffalo, New York. The owner of the home, called Tom in the article, alleged that he felt tapping on his foot at night. As described by Tom, I get a tapping on my feet, not a repetitive tap, a trying to wake you up tap. And after the tapping, if I don't pay attention to it, then I feel a kick. And Radford suggests the tapping was a case of hypnagogic hallucination, a sensory illusion that occurs in the transition to sleep. Fairly common phenomenon that can easily lead to misperceptions. Or he could have the little baby hands on his feet.
Little baby hands grabbing your feet.
It says that his wife, Monica, not the real name, also claimed to feel tapping similar to Tom. According to Radford, this can be explained by suggesting and what psychologists called folie à deux, when one person, often a spouse or whoever, takes on the symptoms of another. First of all, that's a stretch. It's
Very
easier
much
for
so.
me to believe that they've got something pecking on their feet than as far as that's a spiritual connection thing there. How's he going to explain that?
Yeah.
So he's boxed himself in. And Tom just said it would kick the bed. It will hit the side of the bed. I feel my whole body move. Then if I go back to sleep, I start to get a sound sleep. That's when it kicks again. Redford suggests this was likely due to restless leg syndrome, in which a leg jerk in the middle of the night caused the bed to shake. Okay, let's give Tom some magnesium. Let's let him sleep with a bar of soap at the foot of his bed for restless leg syndrome and see if it still happens.
Sure.
Redford suggests that the owner's diagnosis of sleep apnea is even further evidence for this explanation. Restless leg syndrome is actually one of the most common symptoms of apnea.
But I got restless leg syndrome.
Well, that's because you've got a magnesium deficiency, more than likely, or a potassium
No,
deficiency.
all my stuff came back fine.
Just because it was fine according to lab, that's average, does not mean that it's fine according to your individual personality and body.
The lab proved all my levels were fine.
Again, that's it. No, until we get epigenetics going fully, it's the average that is.
I like that name.
One size does not fit all.
I like the word epigenetics.
Yeah.
Epigenetics. It's
Okay.
fun to say.
Sure. Tom and Monica also heard ghostly music and voices, noises that they recorded from the top of the stairs, causing them to leave their home in fright. Radford conducted an experiment where he set the recording device in the same spot, turned it on, then walked outside with Tom, talking constantly. They returned to the house and listened to the tape. Their conversations could be clearly heard, though muffled. The couple then agreed that what they were hearing in their house previously were outside noises and not noises from the paranormal. I think that Radford is probably more than likely an ass. And if, like I said, if something happened in front of him, unless it bit his face off, he's not going to believe it.
Yep, pretty much.
Another test done by Ben Radford in 2009 was to investigate the claim that batteries were drained by ghosts in haunted locations. Radford used a simple method to test this hypothesis. He purchased 4 sets of identical batteries, sealed them in signed Ziploc bags, and wrapped them securely in strong tape to prevent tampering. He placed half of them in the reputed haunted Wolf Manor in Clovis, California, and half in a different location. 24 hours later, he tested the batteries using a meter and discovered that there was no battery drainage in either location. Radford claims that simple, controlled experiments like this are important and should be conducted by ghost hunters to clearly demonstrate if there is a difference between a supposed haunted location and one that is not haunted. Now, I personally have had experiences with this, and that involves my cell phone. And I have in the kitchen, I don't know if we got some kind of vortex going, I don't know what it is, but if I left the phone in there overnight, it would be drained totally.
Yeah.
I could leave it any place else in the house and it would not be drained.
Right.
So, I mean, there's no energy sucking anything in the kitchen. So, I don't know. Do we have cat over there in the cat food bin? I thought that's what that... See, that was an explainable noise. It was an odd noise, but it was explainable.
He's literally got his ass is hanging out of it.
Oh,
You
well.
see it?
No, because I'm short. Anyhow, we've got famous haunted houses, and the one that most people use to talk about haunted houses is Amityville on Long Island, New York. And of course, that became the subject of books and films after apparent hauntings followed the murder of the DeFeo family. And then the Lutz family purchased the home for greatly reduced price, but shortly after moving in, claimed the doors were ripped open, damaged hinges, bending locks, windows suddenly opened, green slime oozed from the ceiling, cloven hoofed footprints left in the snow, Jody the pig peering through the windows with red eyes. When I was a kid and read that, that scared the hell out of me.
That's funny.
The Lutzes remained in the home for only 28 days, but in a court case where the Lutzes were sued, they admitted that almost everything in the Amityville horror was fictional.
I want to read that book.
Oh, it's a good book. I mean,
do we have it?
Maybe. I don't know if I've got that one or not. I don't know.
Can you order it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Borley Rectory, located in England, was considered to be the most haunted house in the world, but whose notoriety was deemed to be created, or at least exaggerated, by Harry Price, an expert magician and proven hoaxer. Casa Loma, located in Toronto, Canada, was completed in 1914. There have been rumors of ghosts on the property for many years, and it is now a historic house, museum, and landmark that is decorated as a haunted house at Halloween. Corvin Castle in Romania is considered to be one of the top 5 haunted places around the world, and according to locals, the castle has been haunted by its former occupant, Vlad the Impaler, ever since he was killed in an ambush. However, it is also said to be haunted by spirits of people killed within the castle walls. I think that was the one that he didn't even live in, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Tourism.
Yeah.
Hey, I would still go see it. I totally would. And then, of course, we've got the Winchester Mystery House located in San Jose, California. Right.
That is one of the things I want to go to so bad.
And it's considered one of the most haunted houses in America, although there are no primary documents for the many ghost stories that exist about the house. Well, now, what is somebody going to do? I saw a ghost and go sit and write a story about it?
Yeah.
No, that's not what most people do. Most of the stories are anecdotal, which means that somebody told somebody and somebody told somebody else, and usually conflicting, and most likely have been embellished with time, especially since Sarah Winchester was an eccentric character who had her strange, complex, confusing design for a home built for almost 4 decades with builders working 24 hours a day. All right, now let's face it, this woman was scared of something.
Absolutely she was.
And then people were just going, oh, she's eccentric, she's crazy. No, she believed.
Yeah.
And the workers, they believed.
Absolutely.
Now, we've got, going into the Halloween-themed haunted houses, these began appearing around the same time as trick-or-treating during the Great Depression as a way to distract young people whose Halloween pranks had escalated to vandalism and harassment of the passerbys. All right, these first haunted houses were primitive, being put together by groups of families in their basements. People would travel from home to home to experience a variety of frightening situations, such as hearing weird moans and howls, cardboard cutouts of black cats, damp sponges, and hairnets hanging from the ceiling to touch people's faces, hanging fur on the walls of darkened hallways, and having to crawl through long, dark tunnels.
Oh my God.
What fun is that?
That is super
Now,
funny.
in this one, in 1972, Jerry Falwell and Liberty University introduced one of the first Hell Houses as an anti-Halloween attraction. I don't know that it was necessarily anti-Halloween, but anyhow, I'm not going to go into that because it's just going to piss everybody off, including me. And now, there are some Christian churches who run the Hell Houses, and which are an alternative to haunted houses, and that's a matter of them interpreting what may happen when somebody goes to hell.
Which that is terrifying in and of itself.
It is. So, but it's one of those.
But it's also scarring the people.
Is it a matter of trying to scare somebody into believing?
That what it
is not how that is supposed to go. Then you have, of course, the commercial haunted houses. And the concept of the haunted house was capitalized on as early as 1950 with the Orton and Spooner Haunted House and Hollycombe Steam Collection, and that's over in England. The haunted house became a cultural icon when Disneyland's Haunted Mansion was opened in 1969, and then by the 1970s, commercial haunted houses had sprung up all over the United States in cities like Louisville, Kentucky, and Cincinnati, Ohio. These houses are stereotypically Gilded Age homes because of changing taste of the nouveau riche. left these homes abandoned or poorly maintained. And it's like, these are the houses that, oh my God, we would love to have.
Absolutely.
We would love to have them. Hollywood slasher films such as Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th had large influence on commercial haunted houses in the 80s and 90s. And many of the houses included characters such as Freddy Krueger and Jason. And the less popular film, Monster House, which I love that movie, suggests the idea of a spirit actually taking control of a house and transforming it into almost a human body.
Yeah.
And it says by 2005, an estimated 3,500 to 5,000 professional haunted attractions operated in the United States, such as Ripley's,
Ripley's Haunted Adventure.
Yes.
I want to go in
it's
one
good.
so bad.
I mean, that is professionally done. It's wonderful. Japanese commercial haunted houses are considered to be some of the best in the world. Of course they are.
Yeah.
Experiences include being chased by gore-covered zombies, specially themed attractions such as schools or hospital wards, and houses from which one must escape within 60 minutes or be found by slaughtering criminals. Claiming to be the world's largest and most frightening haunted house, the super scary labyrinth of fear at Fuji-Q Highland Amusement Park depicts horror visual scenes, shrill cries, moans, and smells. It has been visited by over 4 million people. The Japanese people, anything they do it with such precision and excellence.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine how amazing. I mean, it just, yeah, we would love to be there.
I haven't seen any modern Japanese horror films, but I heard that they weren't that good anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
But then we've got, oh my goodness, anime.
Yeah.
The manga. What is his name?
Junji Ito.
Junji Ito is who I'm trying to think about. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's an amazing horror creator.
Yep. Haunted attractions come in several different forms, from hay rides, indoor haunted houses, to outdoor scream parks.
Outdoor scream park?
I love the scream parks. Well, it makes sense. Many amusement parks now host large holiday events featuring haunted houses. Now, this was pretty cool. When you are selling a haunted house, and in the case of Stramboski versus Ackley, the Supreme Court of New York Appellate Division ruled in 1991 that a seller must disclose that a house has a reputation for being haunted, because such a reputation may impair the value of the house. And the ruling is, in the case at bar, defendant seller deliberately fostered the public belief that her home was possessed, having undertaken to inform the public at large, to whom she had no legal relationship, about the supernatural occurrences on her property. She may be said to owe no less a duty to her contract vendee. So, and having worked for a realtor before, yes, if somebody has died in the home, you have to disclose that. Any of these things, possible hauntings, all that stuff, because if this has been going on, other people knew about it, as far as the realtor, if that agent knew about it, they can be sued.
Yeah.
So, and rightfully so. It's just interesting. Yeah. In Hong Kong, where superstition is prevalent, people do not want to buy homes where anything unfortunate, especially a death, has occurred. I can see that.
I mean, I don't care if that has happened in a home.
For homes that are thought to be haunted, the prices are usually 15 to 20% below market value. Listings of so-called haunted houses could once be found on the real estate website.
You want a cheap house? Get a haunted house.
Well, this was in Hong Kong. It's not. No, they're sought after in America.
That's true.
And so you've got all kinds of legends, novels, all this stuff. As far as there were 70 movies that were listed with haunted house themes on Evil Wiki. And so I will put all those things on there. And I think that where some of Redford and Nichols and some of these people that are uber skeptics, no, I think they're missing the boat on a lot of that.
Absolutely, yeah, I think they are too. It's not something that is honestly easily recordable. when paranormal stuff happens, because sometimes it just happens.
Yes.
And you don't even have a chance to...
Right. Well, that was just like where you took dance class, and that was a historic building in the area. I was sitting, you were having photographs taken. I was sitting there minding my own business and heard the noise to my right, and it was like this swishing sound. It's like, whoosh, just like if you switch through the air.
Uh-huh.
I turned just in time to see this thing flash past the doorway. Was able to see that it was like sort of either a rose or a flesh colored and sort of a burgundy thing. Look back at the people, and I'm like, oh, y'all got spooks. And they gave me that nice little polite Christian smile, like, God love her, she's crazy.
I didn't see anything in there. Of course, I was little.
Yeah, you were having your pictures taken. And what was funny was when I came home and I explained to your father what had happened, he's like, oh, yeah, I saw it too. And I'm like, why didn't you warn me? So,
hilarious.
But now as far as the ghost hunting shows,
I would love to hear Dad's. Was that the only experience that you had down there, or was there others?
Oh, he's because that your father is a sensitive also.
No, I was talking about you there. I
don't know.
Well.
I don't know, because I was usually the one that took you back and forth to the classes, but you would have to ask him. But with these ghost hunting adventure things, or even these paranormal activity movies, which you're sitting there for, 2 hours to see like a teacup move a fraction of an inch, and that's just bullshit. Now, that is playing on people's minds to see something, like I said, the ghost adventuring things, they're scaring the hell out of these people so that if a twig, snaps, they jump out of their skin. So that is just they're it's a psyop thing. They're just freaking themselves out. So I'm not a fan of those. But do I believe that hauntings occur? Absolutely.
I believe they do, but I still want to experience them very much.
Well, yeah, and as far as cousin, that they may go into some of these places, that would be up to you to go. I don't. No, I've had enough on my own. I can just be sitting and having shit happen.
I want to go.
Well, all you have to do is we'll get you in touch with them. Who knows what
I want to be a paranormal investigator, damn it.
Well, you could just get you some of the equipment and go right on. Nobody's stopping you.
I have a voice recorder, and that's it.
Nobody is stopping you.
I have a voice
Live your dream, baby.
I have a voice recorder, and that's it. That's as far as my equipment. If anyone wants to get me an EMF reader, that would be amazing.
Quit bumming people. God.
I will bum. I will bum
You have
to my
no
heart's.
shame.
I have no shame. If it wasn't for the fact the only thing that would bring me shame, it wouldn't bring me shame. It would bring Mom's shame. I would be selling feet pics on the dark web for money.
No, that's just disturbing. I don't even.
You can get good money by feet pics.
No, I don't want to know about this. Leave me in my ignorance. Anyhow, haunted houses. Let us know what you think about these things. If you've had experience with those, if you've had any other experiences with the paranormal, supernatural, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids.
We are open ears.
Yeah. Because it's one of those, there may be explanations, and a lot of times the explanation is that it was a paranormal something.
Right.
So send all those things to us. If you would like to rebuke Mr. Nichols and Mr. Radford,
Do it in the comments.
Oh, absolutely do it in the comments. The Amazing Randy, he was another one that he was an ass.
Yeah.
I think he's still alive, so that means he's still an ass. He's an old ass.
Yeah, an asshole, Amazing Randy.
So anyhow, he didn't start out that way. He did not start out that way, but he got old, he got jaded.
And he got old and bitter.
Yeah, that's it. So anyhow, contact us at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. Did I say it right today? The email is always...
cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com.
The email is always in the description box in case I get totally out there in left field. It happens.
Yeah.
It does happen.
It does happen quite frequently.
Well, Hey. So you all have an absolutely beautiful, blessed day. And we'll see you all on the next cup. And, all that good stuff.
Y'all better subscribe or your asses will get haunted.